Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Devil's Advocate podcast, sponsored by the freezing cold. So if you're cold, get some heat in your house. We've got a big show tonight, and of course, it's all football related, especially with tomorrow, a short trip to a shithole for an away game that's going to be definitely not in that sense. But before we get into that, of course, we've got to go into the pleasantries, we've got to go to the introductions, we've got to do the right things, of course. It's Kevin, Nathan, and Kai. It's been a while since I've seen y'all lads, but how are we doing? Start with you, Kev. How you doing?
Yeah, not bad. Nice break from seeing Man United, so it's been calm the past few weeks.
But what about international football, mate? That's the question.
You don't want to ask. Yeah, I'm an Irish fan. You don't need to. There's no international football.
You haven't had it good lately, to be fair. It's a shame. You haven't had it good, but at least you're free from your manager.
Yeah, that is one thing.
That is an upside. That is an upside. Nathan, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. Yeah. It's nice to I say it's nice to be back, to be off the international break. The international break was dull as everything as it always is. So I'm looking forward to not having to go through that until March. So.
Understandable, mate. Completely fair. And Kai, it's been a while, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, doing good. Yeah, it's been a good 2 weeks off the pain. The sheer pain. I couldn't handle it anymore. I needed a break. So hopefully, tomorrow is a pain-free day.
Yeah, definitely. But we'll see what pain-free is when it comes to United. But again, pain-free is always welcome. But if you are watching, please do like, share, and subscribe. And also check out Devil's Advocate on Twitter as well for any updates regarding the channel. More or less the pleasantries, of course, that is where we're at. So we've done that. We've done the welcoming. We've said who we are. If you don't know who we are, then that's your fault, not ours. But let's get on with it. And I think there's only one place to start. So do I want to talk about United's away games? At the moment, no. We'll come back to that. What I want to talk about, though, is Everton's points deduction, and evidently it shows that the Premier League is corrupt. Who wouldn't have not thought that the Premier League are corrupt? Nobody with a working brain would say the Premier League aren't corrupt. But we are going to talk about that, and I'm going to say flat at the back. So I've said this on a few shows before, and I stand by it. The treatment that Everton have had already, the fact that they were able to build a case on them very quickly and just remove points from them, put all this like sort of pressure on them already. I mean, I dislike any club from Merseyside, but in terms of like an actual standpoint to business, it takes months to build a case on a club in any circumstance to have like a points deduction or anything like that. Even in the Championship as well, it takes months. So I find it quite bizarre that the Premier League were able to initiate and authorize such an action so quickly. But Kevin, also I've not seen you in a wee while, so what's your overall thoughts on Everton's circumstance at the minute, especially with the points deduction, considering how fast it's been? And you reckon as well that Everton tomorrow, obviously they're going to blame other clubs as well for how they're going to be treated from the Prem. You just know that, but you reckon they'll be out for blood tomorrow as well?
Oh, they'll definitely be out for blood tomorrow. It's the wrong. I think it's the worst time to play Everton. Really, we really got we'll have a very passionate Everton coming up against us. They're on the points deduction. It was only one charge, so they were already monitoring Everton. Everton kind of fronted up with it. That's why this was very, very fast. They were able to do this. 10 points. It's a lot of points, but they were warned. And I mean, how many points do you deduct a team? Do you deduct them 1 point? Do you deduct them 3 points? Do you deduct them 114 points? So that's the thing, like, really. But we're definitely going to have a very enthusiastic crowd tomorrow. Pro Everton really against us.
Yeah, and it's the highest amount of points deducted from a Premier League club since Portsmouth.
I think
By a
Portsmouth
single
administration got 9, I think, is all, wasn't it?
9 point
Everton
deduction,
actually, you know, they've actually, the Premier League want to show with the independent adjudicator, they want to kind of flex and show that they have, we can control our own league. So I think Everton are in the wrong place, wrong time. But looking at the league table, I think they're actually in the correct season at the correct time, because honestly, I think high 20s might keep you up this season. Things are going so bad down there. So, but
point.
30 points would definitely be enough, and they'll stay up easily.
And it's quite attainable. I mean, Everton they don't exactly play good football, but they do when they actually really need to. They play decisive football. Like if they need like a single goal or two to get a point, they'll do it. We've seen that time and time again, especially if it's especially for a Sean Dyche side, where they can get a goal by just putting pressure on you, playing that defensive, counter-attacking football. But they will outwork you. One thing that Sean Dyche has done very well at Everton, I'm not a particular fan of his style, but from listening to his post matches, they're always entertaining. But in terms of style of football, it's not the best style of football out there, but it's definitely very effective when it comes to the teams he manages. And Everton is the right step up for him. So it's the sense that I agree, like 20, 25, even just hitting the 30 mark, it will get you enough. But it's just crazy that they've been deducted so many points so quickly when it didn't happen so quickly to Portsmouth either. It took them a while to put the points deduction onto them. I find it very more the sense of intriguing, but also the sense that how they can initiate it straight away. And you mentioned that the Premier League flexing. The Premier League have got nothing to flex when they claim to be the best. They claim to be the best league in football, but they can't even employ the best refs. So that's all I'm going to say. And they haven't even got the best pundits either. Keen, obviously, several comments in the chat before I come to you, Kai. I want to get your comments in a second, but Keen saying, imagine the team who have never been relegated could get relegated over this, but City should be thrown out of the Football League, never win the Prem. Yep. Dyche has done well. And James Garner's having a good season. He's having a decent season. To his standards as well. He's probably the best he's ever going to get is Everton consistently in terms of like first team football. Everton's probably the highest he's ever going to achieve in my opinion. I don't think he's going to get any higher. Kai, what's your overall thoughts on Everton with the points deduction and the crowd tomorrow as well? Because it's Goodison Park. It's going to be some mad crowd. You're on mute, bud.
Oh, gone. My bag?
There we go. Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Good. No, I was just saying that like the Everton game is always quite a tough game. Every single time. It's always been ever since that game. I think it was did they beat us 4-3 or was it 4-4? What I don't know. I don't remember that game, but again, they're always kind of that bogey side. Every time they play us, it's like their final. So we shouldn't really be surprised. Every time we play Everton, there's something great happening. Like Darren Ferguson is taking over as caretaker for one game, or there's always like something in there which, you know, kind of riles them up, and they always play well against us. So it is what it is, to be honest. I don't really think this charges thing will affect that. I think what it will do is it might say to them that they have to work even harder because now they've got a bigger, you know, margin to, you know, if they have to think about it logically, and that's how they'll be sort of approaching the game. Probably that's what Dyche will be saying to them, like, listen, guys, we're in the situation, so this just means that we have to do what we're used to, which is be in a relegation dogfight, which is what Everton actually are kind of used to these last few, you know, years. But I also think with the charges thing, to be honest, I'm not sure what to be upset about, because if you do the crime, then you should be charged, right? So I don't know if we're upset at the fact that City aren't getting charged and Everton are, or we're saying that they have been charged. Because of course, you know, these big clubs, you know what they'll do? They're going to hire shit tons of lawyers. and then they're going to go, and then they're going to appeal, and then it's going to be in the court of whatever for the next 3 years. So I just like Juventus did, right? And Juventus have probably the worst past. So, they don't even garner any trust. And yet they said, all right, fair enough. We will we'll suspend or take away the points deduction for you guys. So I think there'll be something that's being sorted out there. I don't know. I just think that Everton will approach this as they have approached every game anyways, because they have that type of manager. So I do think that's going to be that. But if the fans are going to be fired up, it's going to be because it's United. We didn't do anything to them. We didn't give them the charges. So I don't know what I don't know what they would be fired up more about. It's just more about it's a big game, type of thing. So, that's my thoughts.
Absolutely, and well, we've seen it in the chat. It's definitely coming. I'm tempted to put them in full screen for this, but yeah, Nathan, over to you. Your thoughts on Everton's points deduction, their situation in contrast, of course, to other clubs that are definitely guilty in the sense of, and that is Man City and Chelsea.
Right. So Kai and Kevin were absolutely right. Kevin's absolutely right. Everton have been only charged with one count of a rule breach. So from the years of 2018 to 2021, Everton posted losses of £372 million, which is well over the amount they're allowed of 250 million every 3 years. Everton have been found to be in breach. They have been charged with one rule breach. Whether that's over an amount of years, doesn't matter. Man City's situation is a hell of a lot different because they have got money. So they have hired the best lawyers. And I'm not talking about in the country. I'm not talking about in Europe. They have hired the best lawyers in the world. That is why this situation with Man City is still going on. You are not going to hear anything about that whole situation for at least another year. I can guarantee you that. And even then, in a year's time, it's going to be, oh, we've got it from 115 to 110. And it's going to keep going until we get this big hooray that we're really looking forward to, where they're all going to be dumped into League Two. And we can all celebrate that we won 2 seasons under Ollie and Jose and Jose. My opinion with the charge itself is, at the end of the day, like Kai said, you do the crime, you have to take the punishment. 10 points, absolutely. Yes, may be harsh. And like Kevin and yourself said, it might be the Premier League flexing, and they're saying, look, you've done this, Chelsea and City, you're coming. Don't do any more bad boy stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like and all the rest of the teams in the league, you start losing too much money, you're going to start losing points. It's as simple as that. I can't remember what the owner of Everton's name is, but he literally came out and said when these charges came out, I had to do it because we had a non-existent midfield.
Mashiri or whatever his name is.
Mashiri, that's it, yeah. So he came out and said, I had to spend that much money because we had a non-existent midfield. You've literally just told the Premier League, yeah, I have done that. You literally haven't done any defence in that case. As soon as you said that you had to spend that money, you deserve the 10-point deduction. Yeah, it may be harsh, but don't do the crime if you can't do the time. So, but at the end of the day, they're not going to go down. Everton are not going to go down. They are 3 worse off teams in this league in comparison to Everton. And the way that Sean Dyche had them playing before, I mean, in the last 6 games, 1-4, drawn 1, and 1 loss to Liverpool. So at the end of the day, there's definitely worse off teams in the league than them. But yeah, it's harsh but fair in my opinion.
Do you think they're going to be used as the scapegoat in this sense, where obviously there's other things that will be coming around as well, like I don't know the legitimate side of it, but I know there's like rumours around saying that the likes of Burnley, Leicester, and I think it was Leeds, could all sue Everton for £1 million each. If anything further is to come from this, you reckon that could happen? Or because I personally think they were equally shit and they've all cooked themselves. They deserved what they got.
No, that is just PR bullshit in my opinion. Yeah. There's no way of pinpointing where those big payments have come from in relation to this charge. So they've counteracted 2018 to 2021. They haven't actually pinpointed when these payments were. once you go down that territory, they might have a case, but they're not going to go down in that route. They've been charged. They've been given the penalty. These other teams, they're just fishing. They might get a little out of court settlement, but they're not going to get anywhere near. I think it was something like, like you say, 3 million for every season that they were. And then you start opening a whole can of worms, because then you've got teams in the Championship that should have come up but didn't. You know, it's just a whole can of worms that the Premier League really doesn't want to go down that road.
Because they wouldn't know how to respond either. They wouldn't know how to handle it. Even independent adjudicators wouldn't know how to properly conduct this. And I think that's even more so the confusion about this case. Obviously, Everton have spent since when they hired Ronald Koeman after Roberto Martinez got the sack, 2014 I think it was, 750 million pounds all on transfers. Now, in contrast to other clubs the likes of Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea, Man City, who have spent 500-600 million pound more, for a club like Everton, who are notoriously no disrespect to them, but they are just notoriously a mid-table club in the Premier League era, where they've had some seasons where they've been in and around the top four, but never finished in it. They only finished in it once. Liverpool had the rules changed for the Champions League to get back into the Champions League by defending their title when, frankly, their league position was shit anyway. They've had all that done to them. XYZ. At times they were regular UEFA Cup round of 16 to quarter finalists. They never went any further than that. They haven't won a trophy since 1995. They've still got a rich history. I'm not going to take that away from them. But when you look at the Premier League era, they shouldn't be spending that amount of money in the Premier League. Even if they want to compete, the only manager that makes sense for them to actually go and spend a significant amount of money that they've had since that period of time was Carlo Ancelotti, because he's the only world-class manager they've ever had. And they still couldn't do that right with Carlo Ancelotti. But the actual money that they've spent in that significant period of time, when you're spending 750 million pounds and you're losing 325 or whatever it is, 375, over the space of 3 years, that's nearly half of what you've spent, you've lost for being complete muppets. Now, yes, they are guilty of that. It's just a sense that they've been charged so quickly. I thought there would have been at the end of the season, they would get charged and then they would make a case for that. But they've done it now. It's done. It's over with. In that sense, they've been charged. It's over with. It's the follow-up. One, how will Everton respond? Losing tomorrow would be the best option. But it's how will they respond behind the scenes? Will we see them continue to try and balance the books, be more upfront? Now, they have been upfront. I'll give them that. They've been upfront with the whole situation. They were very forward, saying, these are our books. We have cooked them. It's will they now actually learn that lesson? If they don't, then it's going to get even worse for them. And we already know the repercussions. They're already spending big on this stadium that they're building as well. That's going to add to it as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes from Everton. But I mean, to be fair, you can talk about so many things that Premier League clubs have done over since 1992-93, and you'll be like, comparison-wise, Everton have got it lucky. 10 points is lucky. It could have been double that, and they would have been in bottom position. But hey-ho, we move on, because we are going to talk about our club, which is a suffering pain at times. But again, we still support our club, but it can be a suffering pain. We've got 3 big away games coming up. One tomorrow. We've got the midweek game against Galatasaray. God help us. And then we've got Newcastle. Mentally wise, lads, we've just had this international break, which is good. We've got a few players coming back, which is very important. We're the most informed Premier League club at the moment. 4 wins from 5. Circumstance, obviously. Kai's laughing. He's like, yeah, we might be informed, but it's not the only important thing. Crucially speaking, we need to win all 3 games for different reasons. We need to beat Galatasaray, because if we don't beat Galatasaray, that's it. We're out the Champions League. We need to beat Everton and we need to beat Newcastle, because end of the day, we need to be doing better than where we are. But just where you're at tomorrow, for tomorrow, sorry. What are you thinking? And Kai, you're smart cutting me by the biggest minute, mate. So I'm coming straight to you, bro. Where are you at with us right now? And is this the right time to be playing Everton, or do you think just because it's come back from the international break, this is actually the best time for Everton to play Man United?
You know the saying which says, throwing the form book out the window. That's pretty much anytime you come up against United. It does not matter what our form is. We'll be dealt something amazing in that game. So to be honest, I'm just hoping that we survive the 90 with no crazy things, because I do think that we can win games if we don't do any crazy things. That means no random mistakes, no random red cards, and then finishing chances which should be finished. Then I actually think that the season also looks slightly better as well. I do think that the form guide is it is misleading, but I think also in the games that we've had, if we actually scored in the moments that we had the chances to, then would actually be, it would look a whole lot better. So I do think there's a whole lot that's gone out, gone against us, a lot of luck,
Of course.
and all of that stuff. But I really do think that, we should have even more points than we have now, and we have 21 points or something like that, and that's, so yeah. Anyways, I think we will probably have a draw tomorrow, but I don't think we should pay attention too much to the form. I think we should just go game by game, like we said. As players come back, then we see if that improves as well as the players come back. Because of course, Shaw comes back, but he still needs time to get match fit as well. So, we just have to wait it out for the next few games. I do think we have to win tomorrow, win against Galatasaray, but we don't necessarily need to win against Newcastle because it is Newcastle. So, if we have a good performance and all of that stuff, you know how it goes. I can accept a Newcastle because it's a tough team to play against. But I don't think that necessarily that one is one that we have to crucially win. I would rather us go full on tomorrow and against Galatasaray, and then tomorrow is pretty much the insurance for the Newcastle game in my head, in the current form that United is in. So yeah, that's what I think.
I think that's very fair. And just based on what you're saying, I'm just going to show this for everybody that's on screen right now, and for everyone that's watching. As Kai has correctly stated as well, league-wise, we have got 21 points. That's exactly where we are. We are currently 8th in the league. 7 wins, no draws, 5 defeats. 13 goals scored, 16 goals conceded, 21 points. Still ahead of Chelsea, with a game played more, importantly. But here's Everton as well. 4 wins, 2 draws, 6 defeats, 14 scored, 17 conceded. The same as us, -3 goal difference, 4 points, obviously, because of the 10 points deduction. That's where we're at right now. But when you look at the teams above us, with games played a little bit more. We win tomorrow. We go above Newcastle by a point. And depending on what happens in the Tottenham and the Villa games, theoretically, we could still be a point behind Aston Villa and still be 2 points behind Tottenham. Considering where we've been, it's not bad.
And Reece, I forgot. So sorry, I forgot to say. Actually, we can't get a draw. We don't draw. Ten Hag doesn't draw games. It's either a loss or a win. Sorry.
It's like Tottenham in that last season at White Hart Lane before they went to Wembley. It's either wins or losses. They don't draw. We're the exact same circumstances. One or the other. We can't get the other. I'll come to Kevin last on this one, but Nathan, in terms of just like what we're talking about, like myself and with Kai, they're obviously talking about like the upcoming away matches. They are big matches. Obviously, Kai's fair point saying like Newcastle is more like just that, not an immediate write-off, but where Newcastle are compared to us, it's not the most demanding result. Like the 2 games that are upcoming are more important to win than Newcastle. But Newcastle, obviously, when we get to them, will be important to at least show that we're still here to try and force our way through them. So, for yourself, the Everton game, how important is that to you right now? If you're going game by game, is that more important, or are you thinking actually the game midweek is far more important?
I think the game midweek is really important in the grand scheme of it. In comparison to tomorrow, I mean, It's so hard because I did some research on United players that went off on international break, and as
Shite.
far as I can tell, not a single one of them had a fucking good game. Excuse my language, but
Only one Man United player, in my opinion, had a good international break. Like
I
throughout
could
the
only
whole
find
thing.
two. I could only find two. Who did you have?
Altay Bayındır, 100% for Turkey. He didn't
Right,
concede
so
a single. He didn't concede a single goal.
I had Scott McTominay, who scored a goal for Scotland the other night,
Yep.
and I had Bruno, who scored for Portugal.
Yeah.
Lindelof was was in the back line for a 3-0 loss against Azerbaijan. So that's
Which is embarrassing in itself because Azerbaijan.
Onana went off injured in the Cameroon game. Apparently, he is available for Saturday, but still not good enough.
Yep.
Maguire was woeful in both games. Rashford, pointless him going. So that's really disappointing. So when the question you asked Kai earlier about, is this a good time for Everton to play us? Absolutely. Like we have come off the back of a really awful international break for our players. In terms of how important this game is for us, it's really important that these players who have had a shit international break step their fucking game up for their club and sort it out, because we can't go into the midweek on the back of a loss against Everton, because then you might as well kiss goodbye to that whole tournament. We never said we were going to win the Champions League, but it should have been nailed on that we got out of the groups. And I do not want another half season in Europa League. I could not be asked for that. It just throws the whole schedule out, doesn't it?
Realistically, we should be getting from that group 12 points out of 18, because we're not beating Bayern Munich in Germany. Like, we didn't even beat them in the first game as well. Like, we're just not doing it. Like, the only two games in this entire group we should not be winning is Bayern, because they are streets ahead of us. They are streets ahead, both in quality and in terms of management. Like, on that side of it, like, they're a better managed team because they've got that whole way through. Their system is more intact, and you actually see players playing their proper positions week in, week out, even if they're rotated. If Sané's not playing, it's Kingsley Coman playing the left wing. If Serge Gnabry's not playing, theoretically you can do the same thing. You can put Coman on the right hand side, you've got something. If it's not Pavard, well, I was going to say Pavard, he's at Inter Milan now, but like the same thing goes. If the defense isn't the main defense, it's still the same players playing in their proper positions. We don't do that. It's makeshift. But like Galatasaray and Copenhagen, no disrespect to them, but we should be beating them left to right and centre. We should be smashing them. We should be, but we haven't, which is embarrassing.
Yeah, Reece, and to be fair, I think as a club we should be, or rather, until we're in a position to say that we can go beat Copenhagen easy home and away, Galatasaray, because of the nature of the tie, a draw away acceptable, right, and then a win at home, and Bayern a good game at home and a draw or something, and a loss away at Bayern, then we shouldn't really be ready to be competing in this competition, because those are that's a very basic thing for a club that's in the Champions League. That's a big club to be able to do. That's what all the other big clubs do. You'll see a Real Madrid might go away 2 games, might be difficult, and then the rest of the games they win out, because that's that's the nature of a big team in the Champions League. But us, it's a question every time. Galatasaray away, I'm thinking, yeah.
when I seen the draw for the group stages, the one team I didn't want was any team from Turkey. It didn't matter who it was. I did not want a Turkish side, because that Istanbul game stands out for how bad we were when we were a better coach team than them, to be fair, even though our coaching at the time particularly wasn't great. Our team was better. We still got humiliated by Dembaba. We've never had a good record in Turkey at all. And I was thinking, if we get Galatasaray, ain't no fucking way we're winning in Turkey. And I still stand by that. I mean, I hope we win on Wednesday, but our track record and our history in terms of going to Turkey is shocking. And that includes previous matches. That includes going back to Sir Alex Ferguson. He couldn't get the job done in Turkey. So I'm thinking that we're in for such a fight on Wednesday, that we really do need, as Nathan says, we need that win, because you need confidence. If we don't have confidence for this, we are backs against the wall. And these teams backs against the wall, their heads go. Their heads drop.
You have to ask. You have to ask this United team to do the basics 100% well for us to win in Galatasaray. And that's already the issue, right? Just the fact that you can't trust the basics to
Absolutely.
happen.
I'm fine if you clip me, mate. I've already said this before. Like, I've got no confidence going into Turkey, but I hope we win. I'm happy in the sense that if we go and fucking win, we do, because our record is awful, and that is an unfortunate fact. But disproving a fact is always more fun. Kevin, our away run, and then I'll actually feed into the next part about, obviously, Luke Shaw's returning. So that's interesting for the left back position, because we finally have another left back, because we've had a fake left back in Dallo, and we've had Reguilon. But 2 questions: one, your thoughts on our upcoming away games, and 2, your thoughts on Luke Shaw. Do you think he should go straight into the team, or would you ease him in?
God, I don't have much confidence about going to Turkey either, to be honest. And even going to Turkey, we still we need favors, because I don't even if we were to win there, I don't have much confidence. And Bayern, depending on the team they play, of course. I mean, they're true and are going to win the group, so they could play whoever they want. But it's a big 3 games for our season as to what we're actually going to do. Like, we're a bit lost at the moment. If we lose against, even draw against Galatasaray, we're out of the Champions League, and then it'll come down to the Europa League. I'm so sick of it. Like, I mean, it's the purgatory of Europe. It really is. And maybe not even in the Europa League. Who knows?
It would mean as well, if we drop into Europa League, we have to play the second place of any group as well. It's another playoff spot, which ironically we did last season.
Yeah, it's horrible. It really is. So it's a very important game in Turkey, and it would be a big boost to say we finally went to Turkey and won and got over that. I mean, it would be a huge lift, but we'd still need favors, probably. I mean, I can't say we're going to go and beat Bayern. So, but God, Luke Shaw, he's been out since September. Was it just the end of August, start of September, I think?
Yep.
I don't think he could probably do a straight on 90 minutes from that, which is more like 120 minutes now, really, depending on how much time they add on it in United games. So I don't think he could do the full time. He should be eased in, and 60 minutes against Everton would be great for Luke Shaw, I think.
Especially get up to match fitness. Nathan, yourself on Shaw?
I completely agree with what Kevin said there, to be honest. And also the comment that Keane made of playing him left centre-back, that's not, in my opinion, that's not actually a bad shout. Is that position until Martinez comes back fully fit? It's not a bad idea. But my argument has always been that the better Shaw is on that left-hand side, the best you see out of Rashford. So that would counteract that. If you've got Shaw and Rashford down that left, you've got a much better chance of getting something out of those 2 players. Whether I would put Shaw in, he has to play tomorrow, but whether he starts or finishes the game is going to be crucial, because I don't think he can do, like Kev said, he can't do 90 minutes because we can't risk him going out again. Especially, we need to get his match fitness up to play 90 minutes in the week. So that's going to be crucial. But I like the idea of playing him left centre back, but then we do miss out on that Rashford-Shaw partnership down that left-hand side, because that really does make that side tick in the team.
Yeah. The thing as well, though, is, like, I don't know about you guys, but if I'm playing Luke Shaw as a left-sided centre-back, I'm not playing him in a back 4. I'm not playing him in a back 4 if it's Luke Shaw and, like, as left-sided centre-back. To be honest, I'm playing him as a back 3 and I'm playing Reguilon as a wing-back. I don't I don't think it's wise to play. I don't disagree with Luke Shaw as a left-sided centre back, but in circumstance being, I'm not playing him in a back four. I'm playing him in a back three because he needs at least two centre halves to cover him. That's just my fault. I don't know about you guys, but
yeah, do you think it's a good idea to have him next to Maguire? Does that? I mean, defensively, more to say, because actually in the games that Luke Shaw played, I think centre back. I feel like he wasn't as constantly challenged, so he didn't constantly have to be very much defending in a left centre back position. I think it was a time where we were on form. It was a time where we were, kind of on the ascendancy. But now when we're on the back foot a little bit, how do you think the dynamic is there? Because of course now you have to defend. Now you have to pick up the right spots. Now you have to do some of those, centre back things. I don't know. Maybe he is, but it felt
I think mobility is important. I think.
Yeah.
I know you cut there a little bit, mate. That's mine as well.
Well, sorry. If he was playing tomorrow's left centre back, he would be at times have to go up against Calvert-Lewin, who's pretty tall and strong guy as well. So, would it be the best game to play him?
It's also a game where Decore's coming at a little bit of form as well. He is. I'm pretty sure he's still Everton's top goal scorer as well, Decore, which is genuinely baffling. But he's also a physically imposing player. That's another thing as well. Like, put him under that sort of pressure, would he handle it? If he would need to.
Well, they play sort of that Sean Dyche football, which is kind of a bit old school, get it in the box, kind of get it in high a lot of the time. So, would Luke Shaw be the guy for that?
Yeah, but also one thing we have to consider is that Everton's midfield, to a certain degree, has a bit more strength than what ours has. So that could be a battle that would be quite interesting in there, because what we tend to lose is the midfield battle, actually. So also depending on how open that on how the midfield battle is, then that will also determine how much pressure our centre backs are going to be under, which will be quite the interesting thing, because they have a lot more. I think Onana is there. I think he's fit, right? There Onana.
Yes, yeah.
See, and already that's when you already think of his qualities, you're already thinking, okay, who is going to dominate that sort of a battle there? And then, I think if, I don't know. Yeah. So that could be a tough one. Also because we don't know who Ten Hag actually likes in midfield, to be honest. If the last few games have gone to go by, Scott McTominay has made a comeback to central defensive midfield, and Eriksen was being preferred. Now he's injured. Amrabat is clearly out of favor in that case as well, because if you're dropping the guy that you spent all summer for, and he was waiting on you, and when he came, you asked him to play left back, and then he did it, and he came out and he said, I do whatever the manager asked me, and then all of a sudden Ten Hag is taking one or two looks and he's saying, I'm not sure. And so that's a bit of a question there as well. So yeah, that'll be very interesting.
That Onana that plays for Everton is definitely far stronger than Scott McTominay, and I think he's a bit more reserved mentally. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think Scott McTominay, like, for his qualities, I mean, he can strike a ball really well, but Onana, when I've watched him play for Everton, he doesn't lose his head as much as what McTominay does. Like, McTominay, when he loses his head, his challenges are very rough. And I mean, fair enough. Like, it's a little bit of a throwback. I don't mind that. But
cutbacks for me with McTominay at central defensive mid, that is going to be
just like our midfield battle. I think Kai's internet has proven a point.
Yeah.
It's proven a point in the nicest way.
Cut.
Oh, for sure, mate. For sure.
Yeah, but yeah, and like I was saying, just the way that we defend our cutback is going to be very important tomorrow as well in
Mhm.
those positions. Because what I've noticed is as well, when Amrabat is there, we concede less cutbacks because he's a defensive midfielder that knows where to be. But once you start putting our pivot in there, our pivot gets drawn into positions where you're thinking, what is going on here? So you always find, even when Casemiro's in the double pivot, Casemiro's all the way there, ball comes right across him, free man in the middle. So I think that's going to be quite an interesting thing when it comes to how we defend in our midfield as well, because
Yeah.
we concede a lot of chances, and those are high percentage chances. That's a one-touch type of a goal that we normally concede in there. So that would be an interesting midfield that
For,
I hope we
oh
see.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Kevin, obviously, Keena's mentioned Onana versus McTominay is the key battle tomorrow. Do you agree, or do you think there's potentially another one in there? I know you've already mentioned Shaw versus Calvert-Lewin. If Shaw plays at centre back, I think that's a very interesting shout.
Yeah, it's. I mean, the biggest problem when I look at United matches is every single time the ball goes loose, the other team win it every time. I mean,
Mhm.
it's almost magnetic to the other team. It's a real problem for us. So if Onana wins every single second ball, we're in serious problems there. Like now, will it be McTominay? Who knows? For Ten Hag seems to. I don't know if he likes McTominay. If he doesn't like McTominay, you never know from the way. It's a confusing kind of thing he has going with McTominay, but it will be just that's those second balls. How many will Everton win every single one, spurred on by the crowd to get them? If that happens, I think tomorrow could be bad. It could be very bad. We really have to. I would use the term quieten the crowd, but I don't think it's possible in this case. I don't think that's actually possible. But it's if we can when we get the ball, if we can get the ball wider every single time, it would definitely benefit us and get away from their big guys in midfield. I think that would
Stretching
be a
them.
huge
Yeah.
thing. Stretch the game every time and hope that for the first time in a year, Rashford might actually play a good game.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows after that? I did see
Yeah.
some of the England highlights, and I didn't see Rashford, even though he did start. But there was no highlights of Rashford, which can only mean one thing: that he
I
didn't
didn't
play.
watch any. I didn't watch any England games, so I haven't got a freaking clue how they played. I'm assuming. Well, I know they fluked it against North Macedonia, which is genuinely embarrassing. Like fluking it, really, that is embarrassing. But Keane says we need
They
to nail
are
the goal.
embarrassing.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you a question, Kev, based on something that Kai said earlier on. When Kai said that we should just look to take the chances, be clinical, not do anything overly risky. In a way, Kai's saying tomorrow, Man United against Everton have got to play safe. Would you play safe, or would you play a little bit more risk?
This is a game where it's going to be very it's going to be all passion from Everton. So I think you do have to. They're not a team that can just blow you over like Newcastle did today. If you saw the Chelsea game, I mean, there were 3 goals in the back of the net like that once Chelsea kind of became a bit of a mess. Everton don't really do that. They don't score a humongous amount of goals, a lot like us. Risk, I mean, that risk mean playing. Where are we with our strategies at the moment? It seems to be a different formation every time. Would Shaw that left centre back be mean risk? Is that it? Depends on what you define risk as, I suppose.
For
Is
me,
Hoyland
defining
going
the
to be
risk
able
is
to
like
play? I
I
mean,
was gonna say, like define the risk as saying like where we're not overly cautious, just passing and keeping the ball. Like
yeah,
every single chance that we've got, literally just one, 1-2 touch, bomb up the field and just strike it. Like none of this like holding the ball, passing around. Like we literally just go right. Fuck this.
That would be a great strategy because the other one we play usually gets us maybe a 1-0 win against Luton is what the best we've got from being overly cautious. That's what we get from that. But I think we have to go and risk. We can't decide that we're a mid-table club and hope and pray for a result against Everton. This game is going to define a big this week is going to define what our season is going to be. Are we going to be going for the Champions League? Are we going to be going and having a sort of attempt at winning the title? But hey, if you're having an attempt at winning the title, that means you're going to get the Champions League. Or are we just going to peter away in and be looking at every day at have Newcastle and Aston Villa, what have they done today? You know, is that where we're going? So it's going to be a big week for us. It really is.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Keen's question, I'm saying flat at the back. I'm saying Martial. I don't know what you guys think, but if we're saying who we start up top, I'm going to be the only one who's actually a striker. Like Rashford's
he actually
not a
has
striker.
good games against Everton sometimes, Martial.
Yeah, exactly. He has. Literally, the team he generally does do well against consistently is Everton. I'd say like Rashford's played there for numerous times under Ten Hag, but I don't think he's the best case in a sense. I think if you're playing both together, playing Rashford off the left, off Martial has worked numerous times in the past. I'd say that's something to go with. But for me, right off the bat, I'm saying Martial.
I think Martial because I don't think Hoyland's going to be fully fit to play. Oh, not my favourite choice. I would rather Hoyland, but I just don't think. I don't know if he's going to be fully fit to play.
Go on then, lads. What are we thinking?
Come on, Nathan, please say it for me.
Me and Kai had exactly the same reaction. We both just put our heads in our hands and went, "Oh, for fuck."
No.
It's either that or we don't play a striker. It's either that or we don't play
no, that's what I was going to say.
middle.
It's either that or we don't play a striker. Even though Martial saying he's a striker and then not scoring goals is a bold thing. Like claim he's a striker, but hey, look, if your other guy can't play, you have to play someone.
I'm preferring to put Rashford down the middle and then have Garnacho or Anthony out on that side, because then if you're going to put, so it goes back to what I said earlier, if you're going to put Shaw as a left centre back for 60 minutes, and then you're not going to miss out on that partnership down the left. So if you're putting Rashford straight down the middle, Reguilon down the left at the back four or back three, whatever we've decided with wing backs, and I'm refusing to play Martial. In my opinion, I'm sorry. I had so much love for that guy so early on, and then it's just he's got his life cycle as a striker for Man United. It's just he's in his disappearing phase, and he's going to get injured in training, and we won't see him for 6 months. That's how it works with him. I think that's where we're at with him at the minute.
No, I think that's fair. I mean, if Reguilon does start left back, then I'm playing Garnacho, because I don't think he has a relationship with Rashford all day long. But again, that just depends on what we get with. But Kai, come on then. You were like, come on then, hit me, brother.
All right, I have to agree, and I think people fall into this trap of what Martial could have been. It's this beautiful picture of this guy who could have been like Anelka. He had these skills, and he was in all of this. Yo, guys,
you called the next Thierry Henry very quickly. Remember that? I think the first time he came here.
Yeah, but I promise, so much of that has disappeared, and maybe some of it is his fault, maybe some of it is not. But with a player like that, once you lose explosion, once the injuries get you and you don't have the character, because the thing is, you can see someone's character from very small things, from the fact that when they took away his jersey, he cried, he sulked about it right afterwards, because he's not a fighter. He's not one of those guys who says, all right, let me go again. Yeah. And some may say it just looks like that because he's like, aloof and all that stuff. But it does translate. Unfortunately, in football, you can see it. You can have all the talent, but there's something that just does not translate with Martial. And for me, it's incredible how talented he is and the things he does and whatever. But unfortunately, because some things that made him so good have disappeared, such as the pace, such as defenders are watching him do his skills in real time now. Before, they used to watch Martial do his skills in like double time. It used to be really complicated. Bang, 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 bang. And he's moving guys. I remember Carvajal got spun, 6 times. He didn't know where he was going, because that's what he could do, because he had explosion and because, he was fit. But I think that sometimes players like that, once they don't get fit or once they lose form, then for them to get above that, it's a little bit difficult. And he hasn't done that. And I can't give him a pass. I'm sorry. He's young enough. It seems like he's been here for so long, but he's done so little. And the thing is, as well as that, there's also very little connection that I can have to him, because I don't feel that fan connection that he's either had with he has this skilled guy and whatever and all this stuff, and he looks cool, but the grown-up Martial, I don't know the grown-up, I'm now 26, I'm at United, I really want to prove you wrong and all of that. So I don't have a connection with him, to be fair with you. It's just more of the young fans who love the gloves and the moments. But unfortunately, as you guys know, we grew up with football when players were good for 90 minutes, when players who sometimes were injured, when players were injured, they would come back and they would play so hard. I just don't feel that anymore. So unfortunately, me and Martial aren't best of buddies, because moments for me are just not enough. It's just the same as me and Mbappe. I don't feel Mbappe because he's a moment man. So I can't feel him like that. I can't connect with. He's very good, but he's a moments man. So I always find myself fighting players like that, which only come alive when they have the ball. And I coach, so that's the one player I don't want to see in my team. I always,
that makes sense.
See a player like that, I can't do it. But the character for me is what really puts me off. And again, he'll play fine, but he'll do small things in small moments. And if those don't count, we'll be playing with 10 men. That's exactly how it'll feel, as it constantly does. So unfortunately for me, I'm just like, man.
Yeah.
This guy, he went to what club did he go to? Sevilla? What was it?
Sevilla, yeah, and he didn't score a single goal.
Exactly. So, I mean, he had Ronaldo on the pitch, R9 on the pitch, doing keepy ups for his ceremony there, but you didn't see that change another level. So I don't know why we need to keep giving him second chances if a Spanish team that's not fighting for anything also can't see the need for him as well. So we got to cut our losses sometimes as United, man. We just got to look at some players and
I think that will be next summer. Because this is his ninth season. Next summer he'll be here 9 years.
But the funny thing is, if we get rid of our manager now, next summer will be a summer of redemption.
Redemption or rebuilding or something like that.
This is why, even though we're a bit bad, I just want to keep our manager, because I want him to next season be like, you let me down, you let me down, you let me down, because we haven't done that. We sack our manager mid-season, and then they have a revival, and then we offer them a 5-year contract. So
accountability.
Exactly. So I think at the end of the season, I think Ten Hag will be able to sit down and say, talk to me. Where's the, what did we do last season? What did we talk about? Have we reached our goals? Or we haven't. So unfortunately, we have to go our separate ways. Those conversations aren't had at United too often, unfortunately. And that's a conversation that needs to be had at many more at our club, like it's had at many clubs, like City, So
I think if we get sporting structure and like the new pending sports structure, if that happens, like
hopefully,
or whoever comes in with that, they actually put in place like that effective structure behind the manager, goes like, this is how things are going to be run.
Can you imagine?
You've got that support.
Can you imagine if you're sitting there and you knew as a player at United that at the end of the season there's a review with the sporting director. You're going to be sat there talking about what did you guys do last season. You'll see the effort will go like this. Now it's a lot of contracts, it's a lot of money, it's a lot of, oh yeah, we didn't really make it. Here's an Instagram post. But I'm so sure when there's a structure which says, hey, Chief, you ain't done it. Look at what we're trying to do. Look at where you got. You've got 2 years left. Here's whatever's left of your contract or something. We got to go another way.
Yeah.
Once we start doing that, Martial wouldn't be here. Vibes, you know.
No, I agree. Before we go into our score predictions, there's just 2 comments that came in from one person did leave a like. That was SPK. I don't know who that is, but thank you anyway for the comments as well, saying, I'm not looking forward to playing Newcastle next weekend. If we lose to Everton, one of the worst teams, then Erik ten Hag is not the man to lead the club. Fair comment. And the second one is, Erik ten Hag ran the team to the ground last season, not rotating Martinez has come back to haunt Erik ten Hag. Don't know what Erik ten Hag is training the team, a dozen injuries. Well, a lot of people have questioned that. The medical side of our team really needs to be looked at as well, because it is shocking. Like, the amount of injuries we get is appalling. Like, the medical staff really need to be, well, do a Mourinho. Just have a go at your medical staff during a game and see how that turns out. I'm sure we'll get a positive reaction. No, we won't. But score predictions, lads.
It's been like that for about 15 years now. The medical staff, though.
Oh, it's awful. Oh yeah, it's shocking. It's never going to get any better.
We sign players, and it's like, here's your contract, and there's the table. You can sit on it. They're just injured straight away.
That's it is pure bollocks. Like,
and
but
for
score
every
prediction,
person, for every person that says they want to see Erik ten Hag gone, I always ask, who are you going to want to see come in? And nobody's got an answer to give me, because there is nobody out there good enough at the minute to take us out of the shit. At the moment, in my opinion, Erik ten Hag is the man. He's going to get there. There is no point sacking him now, and then we just left with some random member of the coaching staff to lead us to the end of the season, or some ex-United player is going to. We might see the return of Ollie, which I would love in a sense, but you know, it's not going to do us any favors at the minute. So for every
I'd rather
person
a
that
sport
says,
structure.
Yeah, if there's any person again that says I want to see Erik ten Hag gone, just fucking tell me who you want to see, because nobody's got the answer. So just everyone's entitled to an opinion, but if you're not going to back up your claims, give up.
I'd rather we get the sporting structure and then we see what happens from there. And if I'm hoping that is at least a change for the better. But lads, your score predictions, what are you thinking? I'm just going for a 2-1 United win. Flat out 2-1.
Go on, Kevin.
God, this is going to go down to one moment, and it's going to be 1-0 United.
Nathan?
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I think it's going to be just 1-0, maybe an early goal, but we'll be on the back foot for most of the game, I think.
And UK?
This is tough. Let's go with hope, and say 1-0 United. Yeah, let's 1-0 United. Last minute Bruno penalty. I'm still dreaming of that moment. I still haven't had it again. I still need another one. 90 plus 10. Bruno, bottom right corner. Let's go. And and just
people on eggshells, mate.
And lastly, just to say to Nathan, and just imagine the next manager will have the same. What is it? You know, when you start a job, you've got a folder that they show you with what you need to do. The instruction for he's gonna go to United. De Zerbi will come in with the same folder that will say, "Here's how to make United shit. Here's how to be even shitter, mate. Here's how to make yourself look shit. Here's how to sign the shittest players." So it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And on that bombshell, it's time to
Absolutely.
end. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Please do subscribe to Devil's Advocate. We're going to get out here, and I'm going to watch Survivor Series because that's at least my weekend chilled. But the football tomorrow, we'll see how it goes. But in the meantime, thanks all. Stay safe and goodbye.
See you guys.
now.